Hello everyone, this is Sam from Language Atlas, and in this video I would like to show you the Russian B2 vocabulary Anki deck. In this video we will go over three things. First, I would like to show you the course structure of the Russian B2 vocabulary Anki deck. Second, I would like to show the course content. And third, I would like to show you some brief system and editing options. Now, as you can tell, I have the Russian B2 vocabulary Anki deck right over here. Now, normally you would double click on an Anki deck to open it, but I've already done so, as you can see right over here. So I will maximize Anki, click on this little plus icon, and I would like to get started with my first point, which is to show you the course structure. Now, within the overall Russian B2 vocabulary Anki deck, there are 7 chapters, beginning with chapter 1 pronouns, then going to chapter 2 conjunctions, chapter 3 verbs, chapter 4 nouns, chapter 5 adjectives, chapter 6 adverbs, and finally chapter 7 prepositions. Now in front of chapter 4 nouns you see a little plus icon. If I click on that, you can see that inside of it there are 19 subdecks. Now what I've done is that I've categorized nouns by theme, ranging from academia and intellect, animals, arts and entertainment, all the way to time, maths and numbers, and transportation. Now the reason that I've done so is that this way you're able to study nouns by theme. So if you wish to learn more about body and health, you can do so. If you wish to learn more about food and drinks, you can do so. Or sports hobbies and activities. Whichever theme you wish to learn more about, you are able to do so. Now, that was my first point, to show you the course structure. Now I'd like to go to my second point, which is to show you the course content. And I will do so by having a look at 3 decks within the overall Russian B2 vocabulary Anki deck. Now, I can't show you all Anki decks within this overall Russian B2 vocabulary Anki deck, but I do believe that by just focusing on 3 decks, you will have a better understanding, a better image of what to expect when you do the Russian B2 vocabulary Anki deck. So the 3 decks that I will focus on are chapter 4 nouns, and to be a bit more precise, I'll have a look at location. I'll then do chapter 5 adjectives, and then chapter 3 verbs. So I'll begin with chapter 4 nouns, location, and then I'll click on study now. So the first card type we see is the following. We see a Russian sentence with a blank area. It's our job to know what goes inside a blank area. We see the English translation of the Russian sentence with a certain part bolded and underlined, in this case territory. And we see a visual representation of the sentence and the word. The wolf protects its territory. Now, the reason that you see such a visual representation, you see such an image, is because many studies have shown that if you have such a visual representation, if you have an image, it is easier for you to understand and memorize the words and sentences that you're learning. So this will really help you when it comes to learning Russian words and sentences. So let's have a look. Russian sentence, blank area, the wolf protects its territory. We see a visual representation of this sentence. What is the correct word for territory?
Волк защищает свою территорию. Территория. Территории.
Great. So we see 3 areas. We see a sentence area, we see a singular area, and we see a plural area. I'd like to begin by showing you the sentence area. We have over here, which is the first area, the sentence area, we have over here the Russian sentence with a certain word bolded and in the color pink. Now, why is this the case? This is the correct answer sentence and the correct word that we're looking for. But Russian is a gendered language. There are masculine nouns, there are feminine nouns, and there are neutral nouns. Now, what I've done is that I've color-coded nouns according to their gender. So if you see a masculine noun, if you see something that is blue, you know that it's masculine. If you see something that is pink, you know that it's feminine. And if you see something that is green, you know it's neutral. Now, this little color coding will really help you better understand and memorize the nouns, but also the gender of nouns. So this is a big plus to your understanding and your memorization. Once you see color, you immediately know the gender. So this will help you a lot when it comes to learning the Russian language, and especially the gender of nouns. So we have Russian sentence with the correct word bolded and colored. We have underneath that the IPA notation. Now, for certain people, it helps to have an IPA notation because it really helps you when it comes to pronunciation. You know exactly how every word is pronounced. Of course, it's not obligatory. Perhaps you just prefer to listen to the audio, but this can be a nice aid as well. Underneath that, we have the English translation of the Russian sentence. And finally, we have the sentence audio.
Волк защищает свою территорию.
Great. So that was the first area, the sentence area. We'll go to the second area, which is the singular area. Over here, we'll look at the word. So we have the singular word, also the gender of it, the F for feminine, which is between parentheses. We have the IPA notation as well, just as we had before. But over here, we have the same word, but then with a stress marker added here as well. So this is done so you can immediately know where to put the stress when you pronounce a Russian word. And knowing where to put the stress is perhaps hard when you're starting with learning a language, especially Russian. But this little hint over here, this little stress marker will help you a lot. So this area is for you to improve your pronunciation. You can rely on the IPA notation. You can rely on the word with stress markers over here, or both, or you can just rely on audio. Whichever you want, it is there for you. So underneath that, we have the English translation and finally audio.
Территория.
And as you can tell, the accent was over here.
Территория.
Great. So we'll go to the plural area, which is the third one. We have the word in its plural form, IPA notation, and again the word with a stress marker, so you know where to put the stress. Finally, we have the translation in English, the plural one.
Территории.
And we topped it off with the audio. Let's continue. The quiet suburb has become our new home. Suburb.
Тихий пригород стал нашим новым домом. Пригород. Пригороды.
Great. So again, we see the same setup, sentence area, singular area, plural area. However, as you can tell right over here, something's changed. We see a noun that is blue. And what does it mean if it's blue? It means that the noun is masculine. And if we go to the second area, we see there's an M between parentheses. So again, we know that the noun is masculine. Let's continue. A long passage led to the garden. How do you say passage?
Длинный проход вел в сад. Проход. Проходы.
Great. So we know the setup, sentence, IPA, English, audio.
Длинный проход вел в сад.
And over here we have the singular area, the pronunciation, either IPA or stress markers, English translation, audio.
Проход.
And finally we have the plural form, IPA notation, word with stress markers, and audio.
Проходы.
The workshop occupies the entire ground floor.
Мастерская занимает весь первый этаж. Мастерская. Мастерские.
The corridor in this flat is very narrow. How is the corridor?
Коридор в этой квартире очень узкий. Коридор. Коридоры.
The old temple is located on the riverbank. How do you say temple?
Старый храм находится на берегу реки. Храм. Храмы.
Vadim is looking for affordable housing in the center.
Вадим ищет доступное жилье в центре. Жилье.
Now, as you can tell, something's changed. We see a new color. We see green. So we know that we're looking at a neutral noun. So one more time, if you see something that's blue, it's masculine. If you see something that's pink, it's feminine. And green is neutral. The deck was slippery after the rain.
Палуба была скользкой после дождя. Палуба. Палубы.
Great. So we have the sentence area, we have the singular area, and we have the plural area. Great. So that's what I want to show you for nouns. Now I'd like to go to chapter 5, adjectives, and I will click on study now. So this is what we see. It's the same setup as before. We see a Russian sentence with a certain part, with a certain blank part. Underneath that, we have the English translation, and we have a certain part that's bold and underlined, in this case, magnificent. And we have a visual representation of the sentence and what we're looking for, the word. Today is a magnificent day for a walk. How do you say magnificent in Russian?
Сегодня великолепный день для прогулки. Великолепный, великолепная, великолепная. Великолепные.
Great. So, in terms of setup, we know it. We have a sentence area, we have a singular area, and we have a plural area. However, something has changed over here. We see the correct answer, but it's an indigo. Does the color indigo mean anything? No, it has absolutely zero meaning. The reason that it's an indigo is so you can immediately spot the correct answer in the answer sentence. Now, before when we did nouns, we saw that blue, if you see a noun that is blue, it means it's masculine. If you see a noun that is pink, it's feminine. If you see a noun that is green, it's neutral. But for all other chapters, all other cards, everything else, the correct answer will always be an indigo, and this is so you can immediately spot the correct answer in the sentence. So, answer sentence with the correct answer that we're looking for. We see the IPA notation, we see the English translation, and we see the audio.
Сегодня великолепный день для прогулки.
Great. We have over here the singular area. And you may have noticed something interesting. There are actually 3 versions for the correct answer. Why is this the case? For the singular word for magnificent, there are 3 versions of this. So why is this the case? Well, as I mentioned before, Russian is a gendered language. So we have a masculine version of the adjective, we have a feminine one, and a neutral one. And of course, this is reflected in the IPA notation as well, and in the word with stress markers, which you can see the stress goes over here, and over here. We have the English translation and the audio.
Великолепный, великолепная, великолепная.
Great. We have the plural area, the word in its plural form, IPA notation, word with stress markers, stress mark over here, English translation, and audio.
Великолепные.
We have a new one. We have complicated. Olesya handled the complicated task without help. How do you say complicated?
Олеся справилась со сложным заданием без помощи. Сложный, сложное, сложное. Сложные.
Great. This failed experiment cost us a lot of time. How do you say failed?
Этот неудачный эксперимент стоил нам кучу времени. Неудачный, неудачное, неудачное. Неудачные.
How do you say artistic?
У него замечательный художественный вкус. Художественный, художественное, художественное. Художественные.
Great. So I think you get the idea. You have the sentence area, we have the singular area, and we have the plural area. So I'd like to show you one more deck. We'll go to chapter 3, verbs, and I'll click on study now. Same setup as we've seen before. Russian sentence, blank area. We have an English translation. The students gathered to debate philosophy. And we see a visual representation of the sentence and the word that we're looking for. So, how do you say to debate?
Студенты собрались, чтобы спорить о философии. Спорить, поспорить.
Great. So, this part you already know. We have the sentence area, and the word that we're looking for is bold and indigo. We have the IPA notation, which helps us with the pronunciation. We have the English translation, and we have audio.
Студенты собрались, чтобы спорить о философии.
And over here we have the verb area. And something interesting is going on. We have essentially 2 versions of the verb. Now, why is this the case? Russian verbs often come in 2 versions. One version is used for general, repeated, or ongoing actions, sometimes called the imperfective, is what we see over here. And the other version is used when the action is seen as completed or as one whole result, sometimes called the perfective, which we see over here. So this Anki deck, when it shows you the verbs, it shows you both of them when it's possible, of course. And this is really good for you because you immediately learn both versions of the verb, which will help you a lot when it comes to mastering the Russian language. So we have both verbs, imperfective. So we have one verb, but in both forms. We have the imperfective and the perfective. We have the IP notation, and we have the word with stress markers. over here, and over here. Give the English translation to debate, and finally audio.
Спорить, поспорить.
Great. Let's continue. How could you dare to read my private diary? Dare.
Как вы могли посметь прочитать мой личный дневник? Сметь, посметь.
Great. So we see the Russian sentence area and the Russian verb area. We continue. Nobody objected. How do you say objected?
Никто не стал возражать. Возражать, возразить.
Great. Let's continue. Grandma was afraid to slip on the ice. How do you say to slip?
Бабушка боялась поскользнуться на льду. Поскальзываться, поскользнуться.
Great. Anna managed to convert her husband to her faith. How do you say to convert?
Анне удалось обратить мужа в свою веру. Обращать, обратить.
Let's do one more. The film's plot starts to unfold closer to the ending. How do you say to unfold?
Сюжет фильма начинает раскрываться ближе к финалу. Раскрываться, раскрыться.
Great. So one more time. Sentence area, correct word, bold and indigo, IP notation, English translation, and audio.
Сюжет фильма начинает раскрываться ближе к финалу.
And we have the word in its imperfective form, the perfective form, IP notation, word with stress markers, English translation, and audio.
Раскрываться, раскрыться.
Great. So those were the three decks that I wanted to show you. This concludes my second point to show you the course, show the course content. And now I'd like to go to my third point, which is to show you some brief system and editing options. You may have noticed that all of the exercises we have done so far were fill-in-the-blank exercises. You see a sentence with a blank area, and it's your job to know what goes inside of that blank area. Now, for those that want to practice their spelling, there's an optional typing exercise. This is disabled by default, but I will show you how to enable it. So we will go to Browse, we will go to Russian B2 vocabulary. You can click on any card, it doesn't matter which one. And if you scroll all the way down, you can see there is an area called Enable Typing Practice. Now, if you enter the word yes in here, this card will also get an additional typing exercise. But doing this one by one for all of these cards takes a very long time. So I'll show you how to do it in a faster way. Click on any card, doesn't matter which one. Control A or Command A. Right mouse click, Notes, and we will go to Find and Replace. So we have the Find area, you want to have it empty. You want to replace this with the word yes. And in, we want to do this for the field, for the area, Enable Typing Practice. So find empty, replace with yes, and in, Enable Typing Practice. And you can see the notes have been updated, the sentences have been updated. And if I go over here, I will see the word yes. So let's do one of these typing exercises. Let's see what it's like. I'll go to location and I will click on Study Now. So this is what we see. Now this is the card that we have done before. The wolf protects its territory. And we have the blank area over here. Now before, all that was needed was simply to know what the Russian word for territory was. But now we actually have to type in the word as well. So this second card type really tests where you can type the word correctly, where you can spell it correctly. So let's see if we can spell the word for Russian correctly.
Волк защищает свою территорию. Территория. Территории.
Great. So you can see that I answered the word correctly. And if you answer a word correctly, it shows up in green. So this is Anki's way of showing you that you had to answer correctly. So it's a nice little feedback to immediately know, okay, yes, I had it right, or perhaps you didn't have it right. But in this case, I had it right, so the correct answer shows up in green. But what happens if you don't know the correct answer? So we have another card that we've seen before. The quiet suburb has become our new home. And before we had to simply know what the Russian word for suburb is, but now we have to spell it as well. We have to type it. So what happens if I don't know the correct answer?
Тихий пригород стал нашим новым домом. Пригород. Пригороды.
So you can see something interesting happens over here. So the first part of my answer is correct, but the last part, oh, that's where I made a mistake. And it shows up as red. So if you have something that is correct, Anki shows it to you in green. But if you have something that is incorrect, Anki shows it to you as red. And underneath that, we have the correct answer. So again, this part, this is what I had already, which is good. But this is what I should have had. So the second card type really tests if you can spell the word correctly, if you can type it. I know there are many people that like to do this as well. So this is how you do it. Now I could continue like this, but I think you get the picture. More typing exercises. But what if you're not happy with your choice? What if you want to revert to the first card type only, which is the simple fill in the blank? You click on Browse. We go to Russian B2. And what you have to do is you have to get rid of the word yes over here in the Enable Typing Practice field. Now doing this one by one takes a very long time. So I'll show you how to do it in a faster way. Click on any card, it doesn't matter which one. Control A or Command A. Right mouse click, we will go to Notes. We will go to Find and Replace. We want to find the word yes. We want to replace this with nothing, so we want to have an empty field. And for in is Enable Typing Practice. We will click on OK. You can see that all the notes, all the sentences have been updated. You can see that this Enable Typing Practice field is empty. Great. But we still need to delete all of these empty cards now. So we will go to Tools. We will go to Empty Cards. And you can see that we have this optional typing practice cards. We have all of them. We'll click on delete and voila. We got rid of all the typing exercises and now we only have the first card type, which was the simple fill in the blank one. Great. So there's one more thing that I want to show you. Many people ask me, Sam, how do you regulate the amount of cards that you do and see every day? And what are the best settings for Anki? So I'll show you this part now. Next to Russian B2 vocabulary, we see this little icon. Click on it, click on options. And we have a new pop-up, and the pop-up is daily limits. You can see over here we have an area called new cards per day, which is 15, and we have an area called maximum reviews per day, which is 150. Now a review is simply a card that you've already done before. And please note it says maximum reviews per day, so it doesn't mean that every day you have 150 reviews, but simply the maximum amount. So right now I have 15 and 150. I can increase this to 30 and 300. Click on Save. So you can see that the amount of cards have increased. I can decrease them as well if I want to. I click on this option, this little icon, click on Options. We get the pop-up as well. I can decrease this to 5, I can decrease this to 50. So I can decrease the amount of cards. And you can see that the amount of cards has decreased. And I can go to Options and I can have it to the default settings as well. So 15 new cards per day and 150 reviews. This is what I recommend for most people. Again, you can increase it, you can decrease it, do whatever you feel comfortable with. But this is what I recommend for you, 15 and 150. Now, if you go down, we see an area called FSRS. Now, what is this? This is essentially a new kind of algorithm. Anki has its own default algorithm, but I recommend this one. Now, many studies have gone into this new algorithm, FSRS, and it's shown to be more effective and more efficient when it comes to memorization. And again, an algorithm is simply what determines which cards you see and when you see them. This algorithm is a lot better than the default Anki ones. It will increase your memorization and it will do so in a more efficient time frame. So please turn it on. As you can see right over here, it's on for me. And for desired retention, I recommend 90%. So one more time, for daily limits, I recommend 15 new cards per day and a maximum reviews of 150. And I have FSRS on and desired retention is 90%. Great. So that was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed my explanation of the Russian B2 vocabulary Anki deck. You can get this Anki deck at languageatlas.com. I repeat, languageatlas.com. I will share the links in the comment section and description, so you know exactly where to go if you want to find the links or if you want to have more information. I wish you the best of luck when it comes to learning the Russian language. And thanks again for watching, and I wish you a great day. Goodbye.